Hey, Mark.
Hey, John.
It's kind of dark in here.
Let's turn the lights on.
Hey, this is an IPA.
Let's get after it. Welcome to Driftless Drinks. My name is Mark.
My name is John.
And today on the Driftless Drinks podcast, we have a Black IPA. John, would you like to tell us about this one quickly?
So this is Sublimely Self-Righteous Black IPA by Stone Brewing.
Nice.
It has the characteristics of an IPA and of a dark beer all in one. And I think after we crack this bad boy open, we'll dive into a little bit more about what this is all about and see if what they say and what we experience are one and the same.
Gotcha. Yeah. So real quick, Black IPAs, hopped like an IPA, but a toasted dark malt. I'm thirsty. Shall we get it?
Yeah, I am too. All right. No more goofing around. Let's pop the top of this
Let's
bad
get right
boy.
into this. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Oh, there goes the cap on the floor. Oh,
Hey,
no,
there's
it's on my
stuff
chair. Cool.
Hey, there's something written inside the cap. I'll look at that later. All right. Let's pour her out here. And I don't know if should we be heavy with this pour?
How about you maybe, and me?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go a little harder.
Well, you know.
Ooh, wow. Okay. Whoops, slow down.
I didn't even rough this one up, and I got a solid 3/4 inch ahead on it. So the answer to that question, John, was no.
No, I learned that as I had to do that. Look, there should be a name for that where you have to I'm not going to say it, but when you have to kind of slurp a little bit off the top. I was going to say something about head, and no, not going to happen.
Yeah,
All
gotta
right,
get the nose. You got to get the nose broom out. Sweep
nose
off the
broom.
top layer.
It's the whole reason we have mustaches, right?
That's
there.
right. Nose broom, top layer, then pour the rest.
Yeah.
You do have a massive amount of bubbles on top of this.
I do. That's a good 3 inches.
That's 3 to 4 fingers of
Yeah,
foam.
that's 3 fingers of foam right there. It's on a tulip glass too, so that that kind of brings stuff in. So if you're a little off on your pour, then
Yeah, you start running out of room quick.
So now we're back from the Instagram picture. All right.
Yeah, we took a
enough of the heads
hiatus
gone
up to the Instagram picture bluff. Went for a little hike.
down. All right.
So now this thing is really settling down into a lovely. How would I describe this? It's a very fine carbonation ring at the top of this beer, and it kind of, like the way I poured it, looks a little bit like a spiral galaxy from the top. It's really neat looking.
I still have a substantial amount of head on mine, but not so much that I couldn't drink through it. So I'm gonna stick a nose in it, and hopefully the foam doesn't get in the way here.
Yeah.
That was a lot. That was a lot fruitier than I thought it was going to be.
It certainly is. A little piney, too. Hops come right to the forefront here.
That's a fun sweetness coming off of it, too. So I know from the style that there can be like a kind of a pine resin that comes along with this. Usually it's on the tongue. But you know how pine has like a sweetness to it, too? That's sitting in there. It's not like juniper or something, but
Yeah, I'm really just pulling that piney hoppitude.
nah, yeah, I'm getting a little bit. The sweetness is,
Gotcha.
and maybe it's just because I introduced so much air to it that I'm getting a different. It's like I could have stuck a bicycle pump in it and gone to town on that. I don't know what that means, but I could, have punched a bunch of air into that, and it wouldn't have got any frothier than that.
Hold on, let me plug in the air compressor. Gotta oxygenate this baby.
Okay, so now that the head's kind of dissipating, I'm getting the pininess is coming up.
Yeah, it's
Much
pininess.
more
There's
prevalent.
Yep. maybe a touch of like grapefruit or something, a little bit, but to me, it's very hop forward. I'm not catching any of the sweetness you're getting out of it yet on the nose,
Okay.
but we did give it two vastly different pours here. So
I wonder how if that affects the flavor. We haven't done a scientific test to see if a hard pour would affect the flavor. We knew it was going to affect the nose.
how do we get a
Right.
scientific test out of that?
We just have to drink a lot of beer and try it in different ways.
Oh, yeah. Well, then it's scientific. Oh, you know what? Hey, we got to pause this again real quick.
Go for it.
I'm going to be right back.
Okay. Mark has left the room and left me to my own devices. I now have the full run of the studio and can do whatever I please. Normally, that would involve taking off shoes and socks, but the weather's a little cold and I can't really feel the heater because it's on his end of this call. So I will remain fully clothed and sitting in my chair, patiently waiting, staring at a beer that I cannot yet drink, which, on the one hand, is a terrible travesty, but on the other hand, actually perhaps heightens the anticipation and perhaps, nay, I say, the flavor of the beer. He's back. I'll talk to you later.
Speaking of science, one of the things I wanted to start doing when we taste beers, two things. Number one, at some point we'll keep track of when we pour the beer and how we drink through it. I would like to keep track of that. But the other thing, instant read thermometer.
Yeah!
So at the time of the pour, I have 53 degrees.
Okay.
So out of the bottle, we'll start this thing off at 53 degrees, and we'll see where we get to as we drink through it. We'll give updates as we experience different things, perhaps, on the way through the beer here.
Now, remember that number for later, because I think that's going to be significant. The 53.
Okay.
We have material to read. That's what I'm saying. And one of those is the preferred drinking temperature of this.
Oh, does it have it on this bottle?
It doesn't have it on the bottle, but it has it on some of the stuff I've researched. Because, I didn't just read the bottle. I can't just do that.
Right.
But,
John scours the end of the earth for every piece of information on every beer that we try here at Driftless Drinks.
And I ignore everything that doesn't agree with my original concept.
Right. That's what we do as non-scientific dudes that drink beer.
Okay, so we got 53 degrees. We've talked about the nose. I think we got to go in for the taste, man.
Yeah. Get your pull.
All right, here we go.
This is really good, but it's taken me two different directions. Instantly, that hop note that I was smelling on the front end, that pininess, and I don't know what type of hops are in here. Maybe we'll find out in a minute. But it's a very classic IPA kind of taste, right? It's it's a little earthy, bitter, and it's got that piney dankness to it, right? A little bit. But then the malt goes kind of the other direction. So when you said you were picking up a bit of sweetness on the nose, I can taste a little of that sweetness in this beer, but there's also a bit of a dry, bitter note to the malt. So it's really interesting. It's converging and then kind of separating in two directions. But the thing is it doesn't seem like unbalanced or weird, like it's two very separate beers. It seems like it's a beer that kind of goes two different ways. That's first impression.
Well, I completely agree with you. The sweetness is actually kind of broken out for me now, and I'm getting a couple of different things. Now the aftertaste of it, the finish, is bitter.
Yep.
Just a straight IPA that just the word dank is just all over this. For the finish, for me, it's just immediately it's that bitterness, it's that kind of like tongue pinching little bit, but not in an unenjoyable way. But the top notes on this, there's a chocolatiness to it. There's a little bit of chocolate in there. I'm actually getting a little bit of like a dried cherry is just in the background of this for me. Not Not getting anything rich, nothing like fig or anything like that, but that sweetness is coming off as kind of a dark fruity sweetness for me.
I'm almost getting like a. Hear me out on this one. It's almost like a dark rye bread. So there's like a hint of like that bready sweetness, but it kind of goes like dry and a little bitter, right?
Right. There's a lot to this. This isn't super simple. When you talk about how some of these have, so this style, real quick, we'll talk about the beer and packaging and stuff like that. This style was introduced in Stone's 11th anniversary, which is back in 2007, and so they released this. This was the first time it was released. If you go by just their top end, kind of their top level promotion of the beer, then we decided to bring it back for January of 2001. Well, they actually released it in 2009 and in 2016, and so they've tried it different times, and every time they've introduced it, it's been requested by the fans. So,
interesting.
yeah, we'll see.
Dude, the carbonation on this thing. Just look at the lacing.
Yeah, it's crazy because once this settled down to that same light galaxy head that you have, it doesn't go away.
It really sticks. I like it. I like that visually. It's pretty amazing. While we're chatting through here, I would like to go around the bottle real quick.
Oh, please do.
This is the Stone Sublimely Self-Righteous Black IPA, bringing that back. Let's see here. It is 8.7% alcohol by volume, 12 fluid ounce bottle. And I turn the bottle around. It says Stone Sublimely Self-Righteous Black IPA. First brewed briefly in 2007 as Stone 11th Anniversary Ale, this beer was an instant hit. We loved everything about it and missed it terribly when it was gone. So after long months full of serious jonesing, I see what they're doing with the dank reference there, we brought it back full-time as Stone's Sublimely Self-Righteous Black IPA. Had a great run, but eventually Black IPAs fell out of favor. I think we just touched on that too. And this dark dank beauty headed to retirement. Alas, such are the vagaries of craft beer. Cue a return of the serious jonesing, like really serious. These guys, man, they're just jonesing for jonesing, man. I lost my place. This is tiny print on this bottle. On a nearly daily basis since then, our fans have reminded us of the indelible impression this beer left on them. So an acknowledgement of all the righteousness still in the world, in this beer, and in your impeccable taste. We offer it up once again with its original artwork by Edison Ruiz, who also contributed to our Stone IPA guest art series. Be forewarned, this is a limited re-release. Enjoy now. Jones later. Remind yourself it's better than none at all. Or better yet, surprise the hell out of us and buy the crap out of this release, forcing us to bring it back once again. We won't complain. At least they're honest about it.
Yeah, you want to be upfront with your customers. But I will. This is mouse text. I mean, this is on par with New Glarus. They have the same copywriter as New Glarus, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, they print half a friggin' novel on the back of this thing.
Yeah, you gotta have something to read while you're waiting for the head to go down.
Yeah, right. Waiting to chew through this thing at nearly 9%. Oh, if you want to reach out to them, it's stonebrewing.com/sublimely at Stone Brewing for the tweets.
Now they do have, so the bottle cap, besides having the logo for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and they're at Stone Brewing, says leave no stone unturned.com. Now, the interesting thing about this, I bought some from Stone when they first started this campaign and went, what the heck? Why are all my Shoka vases upside down?
Right.
And then I went in and found out why they're doing this promotion. And I applaud them for it because it's eye-catching.
Certainly is.
And it seems really cool. So, Mark, what I suggest we do is take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the style of black IPAs, not too much, and then we will see what the temperature is, and have another sip and see if it's holding up after sitting around a little bit like a heavy beer would. What do you say?
Groovy. Let's do it. All right, well, welcome back to Driftless Drinks. We took a little pause for the cause there. John, do you want to explain to us what a black IPA is?
Sure. So a black IPA is made a lot like a normal IPA, except that one of the additions they do for malt is to use what they call a carafe malt, which is basically a dehusked dark malt. And what that does is it adds a bunch of the color. So you get kind of that, as you hold it up to a light, you can, up to a strong light, you'll get just a little bit of a redness out of it. And that's actually kind of the same thing that you'll get from like a Doppelbock. They'll have a red color to them. They get that from a different source. They don't get it from a carafe. But basically, you make an IPA, you use this dehusked dark malt, and you get those characteristics. So that's kind of the idea. Now, there have been black IPAs since at least the 1800s.
Wow.
But they weren't necessarily called that. But when you read up on the flavor profiles of some of the recipes that came from back then, they would have had some of that rich darkness to it, but really that top hoppiness to it. So it's an old style. And what's interesting is that
not the beer old style. It's an old style of beer.
Yeah.
Not fully croissant.
It's a big distinction there. Friends don't let other friends croissant themselves.
Right.
So
croissant damn near killed them. That's really bad.
No, that's great. I love it.
Jokes.
No, that's good. As we're talking about this at the first half of 2021, I was looking for other black IPAs. The only one I found that is in production at this moment, at least that we can get hold of anywhere close to where we are in the Driftless area, is Hoppy Feet by Clown Shoes. There have been other ones out there, like Banjo Cat, which comes from One Barrel Brewing Company out of Madison. They're out of Madison, right? And there are some other ones that were kind of closer to home that had it but don't have it. Sierra Nevada had one. There apparently was an Imperial version that Voodoo Ranger came out with a while ago. I'd love that to come back so I could try it. But it's one of these things that kind of ebbs and flows in the industry. So it's nice that Stone has this, that we can try it.
Yeah, I know New Glarus went through their black IPA phase too with Black Top. I think that's what
Black
it was.
Top. Yeah. So that's a little bit about the black IPA. It's kind of a work in progress. It's been since the 1800s, but it's a work in progress as far as the industry is concerned.
And it doesn't so the history of it is kind of interesting, right? But it just seems like with every brewery that we've come across, it's like everybody has had one at some point, but few of them keep them in production. I wouldn't say it's trendy, but it's kind of like the McRib, Like you have one of them every year and you remember why you love them and you remember why you don't want to have one for another year.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure that more than a 6-pack of any individual brewery's black IPA is any more than I need. So
yeah, kind of law of diminishing returns. Although I've just taken another sip out of this one.
Oh,
this is easily the best black IPA I think I've had. And there's a couple things now that are creeping into it, and I'm running my thermometer back in here, and we're right about 60 degrees now.
Oh, cool.
And we're probably 25 minutes in from when we cracked it. There's like a hint. There's a hint of like a dark coffee roast in here.
Yep. I get that.
And the hoppiness is starting to subside a little bit, and I don't know if it's because my palate's getting used to it as the beer goes on, or if it's because it's warming up a little bit and the malt's showing up a touch more, or both. The very bitterness at the back end of the hop note is starting to dissipate a little bit, and it's starting to actually clean up like really nicely.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess without being overly descriptive, it went from being a touch cool at the beginning and a little bit bitter to now being quite drinkable for almost 9%. And for this style of beer is kind of also interesting to me. And I understand why people, when they do limited runs, would want them to bring it back on occasion, because this is a kind of unique take on the style out of the ones that I've had, and definitely deeper. It's really hard to pin my finger on what's going on here, but I like it. So that's bottom line. Basically, the last 3 minutes of rambling is that it's 60 degrees now, and I like it. But they really nailed the friggin' carbonation on this. That's well done.
For me, the cleanup is still quite bitter. And actually, I think that the bitterness of the end, the after, is really sharp for me. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like it. I mean, that just speaks to me of IPA.
Yeah.
You know how double IPAs, they clean up to me. This one just kind of keeps that stiff note in there. But you're right. As it's warming up, it gets more of the sweet, more of the coffee's coming through. The website, which I happen to be gazing at, stonebrewing.com, they're talking about a darkened milk chocolate. I get no milk chocolate out of this.
Wow, really? Milk chocolate?
Yeah, that's what they say. They talk about orange and raspberry. Okay, raspberry maybe, because you get that dark fruit. They talk about pine resin. That's all over this thing.
Yep.
Without being... so pine resin, usually when you get that, it's more in the nose than in the palate. And I'm getting this more in the palate than on the nose, which is kind of weird. And then they talk about tropical fruit with hints of coffee. And I think that the coffee is far more forward than some of those other flavors. Their palate, though, they're saying it's a medium body with solid bitterness and a nice dry character on the finish. And I fully agree with that. I think that it is a medium body. There's a solid bitterness, and the drying character is all over that finish.
Definitely. I never would have gotten milk chocolate or raspberry out of this. I can see the orange note as more like an orange rind. You know, like there's definitely a citrus note with the hops in there, but to me it comes off more like a rind than an actual fruit.
For drinks that have devils on them, because that's the other thing. The artwork on this is a demon or a devil. Usually when you have something that's hellspawn on the label, you know, you're kind of iffy, but Stone's got him as a mascot. So in this case, it's well done artwork. It's interesting that they use a black, white, and blue theme to it.
Yeah, what's with that?
Makes it stand out.
I like it because I like the sticker is like clear on it.
Yeah, that is kind of cool. That you can see through the label.
Yeah.
We can go on about packaging, but we've had well-packaged beers that tasted like crap, so
it's true.
Doesn't tell you a whole lot.
Not always.
No.
Sometimes it tells you very little. Sometimes it tells you that some places have a killer marketing department, and that is all. Man, 2021 hasn't gotten off to a great start with beer, but this is a step in the right direction. Significant step in the right direction.
I agree. We've been throwing ourselves some softballs, though. I mean, with some of the beers that we've been doing. So, you know, just because we had weird experiences in last year, which might be our fault. Honestly.
Well, one of them was
my
fault for sure.
Yeah. Episode 208 was not our fault.
No.
So if you listen to episode 208, you know that wasn't our fault, no matter what the guy at the brewery said.
I have a rebuttal video for that too, by the way. I need to go in and edit.
Which is a good segue. Make sure that as you're listening to us, that first of all, thank you for listening. Second of all, please make sure that you subscribe so that you can get these as they come through. We'd love to tell you exactly when these are going to come out, but we can't. So
Top
if
secret
you're subscribed,
shit.
yeah, if you're subscribed, you'll get them as they come through. Make sure that you hit us up on Facebook, Instagram. Say hi. We love it when you guys say hi. And be sure to check out the YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, search for Driftless Drinks. You'll find us. We also put not only do we put these podcasts up there, but we have videos that we put up, and we go a little bit deeper into some stuff with even a shorter time frame than we're using here. So,
yeah.
So that was Sublimely Self-Righteous Black IPA from Stone Brewing. Final thoughts, Mark?
Good. I like it. This thing is a roller coaster between a touch of like chocolatey malt, like a bitter chocolate malt, with a touch of sweetness, and I still kind of got that rye bread thing a little bit in my mind. Between that and like dank hops, grapefruit and orange rind, like it really came in waves for me. It was up and down between those kind of two very different paths, but all made for a good experience as a beer together. So I can understand why they keep re-releasing this every few years. I would also say that as a drinker, I would probably only seek it out every now and again. It's a very unique taste, a very unique beer. It's not a pounder. It's like a one and done, but I enjoy what it brings to the table, and it's probably the best example of a black IPA that I've had to this point. So,
I fully concur. I think that if you are hanging out with friends who are big into IPAs and you want to sip on something for a little bit longer than an IPA normally would, and you want something a little more dynamic, this is a really good way to go. And if you haven't tried a black IPA before, this is definitely the one to try. I think it will set the bar pretty high for any other black IPA you have in the future. So
absolutely.
Thanks for having one. Thanks for having one with me, Mark. Appreciate it.
Hey man, thanks for drinking with me. It's always a pleasure.
Cheers.
Driftless Drinks studio recording courtesy of HPJ Studios in Tomah, Wisconsin. Be sure to subscribe and rate us wherever you get your podcasts, and like us on Facebook and Instagram, where we feature each episode's brews a week or so ahead of time. Visit us at driftlessdrinks.com, where you can comment on each episode and drink along with us on the Driftless Drinks YouTube channel.
And so that does it for another edition of Driftless Drinks. My name is John.
My name's Mark.
And hey, don't forget, keep a cold one handy for us.
Cling.
Mark, I thought, with your permission and the permission of the permissioner, we're going to start that again.
Permission-y.
Permissionist.
Permissionista.
Permissionista. But I tell you, I feel like I could float a quarter on that.
You want to try?
No.
Okay. Yeah, we've been through that before.
Yeah, I don't put change in my beer. It never works out like you think, and it hurts twice. So, I am related to Robert Goulet.
I drank seven of these before breakfast. What's your problem, son? along and bring your jukebox money. Box money. Box money.